Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Conference of Mayors CEO and Executive Director, Tom Cochran.
Aloha! To begin this special lunch, let me call up our host mayor for a special introduction. Please join me in welcoming the mayor of Honolulu. Mr. Mayor, thank you. Mr. Mayor, on behalf of the staff of the United States Conference of Mayors, on behalf of the officers of the United States Conference of Mayors, on behalf of the members of the United States Conference of Mayors, we thank you and your staff for the great job you've done. Shout out to Ed Hawkins, shout out to Mary Charles, and every one of the persons that we met with when we came out to Honolulu. We have a special gift to present to you at this time. This is a wave of love that was created for you by a artist on the Big Island. Aloha, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Will I say a few words? You're going to introduce them. You stay in the then introduce.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. You know, Tom Cochran is all of our bosses, so I was checking to find out what I'm going to do next. I did want to say a few things, but first, good afternoon and aloha. So good to see you all still here, and we had a great business meeting this morning, and we have one more event tonight. Some of you are going to be coming with us down to Kahuike Village to see how we're addressing in a very innovative way, working in the private sector, housing about 650 homeless folks. But before I get into some comments, I wanted to show you this picture of me and Tom Cochran. And it looks like Aloha threw up all over him. But this is our leader, and I tell you, I don't know a better dresser most days. And, you know, he thanked all of us. But we need to thank him and his staff for all he does for this event, but all of the events and all of the outreach he does to mayors around this country every single day of the year. Big round of applause for Tom Cochran. And I did want to say a special mahalo to Mary Charles. I wish she would come up on the stage. Mary, if you just come up briefly, she's over there. And Sherry Kajiwara and Ed Hawkins, please just come up. I want to say thank you. You need to stand up here for a second, just a second. You know, Mary Charles is our event planner. I was told by Virginia Mayor of Boston, one thing you need to do is get someone who knows how to plan events. And I thought everything that happened was seamless. She was there when, Mary Charles was there when I needed her, and then she would disappear. And I would tell her, you know, Mary Charles, if you're mayor of the city and county of Honolulu, we wouldn't have any problems. So I would like you to give a big round of applause for Mary Charles, Sherry Kajiwara, and Ed Hawkins. And, you know, on behalf of all the mayors who have spouses, partners, significant others, and their families, I do want to thank my wife, Donna Tanoi, and my daughter, Maya Hisako Caldwell, for just putting up with me and for all of the spouses and loved ones putting up with your mayors. I'll give them a big round of applause. You know, in Hawaii, as you arrive, as you know, we give you a lei. And we have great joy and happiness in our hearts as we present a lei. And when you leave, we also present you lei in fond remembrance and sadness that you're leaving. And I have to say, I feel a little sad that you're leaving. It's been a great gathering. And it makes me think, as a young man going to college in Boston and graduate school in Boston, my parents and loved ones would come to the airport and give me lei to take back with me. And when I got into the dorm, I'd take off the lei and put it on the back of my chair. And the fragrance of the flowers would remind me of Hawaii. And I hope that as you go home, that fragrance goes with you. We've gotten to know each other during the past 4 days, I believe. And we've gotten to share our experiences. And I think Hawaii and its people have gotten to know you a little bit too, as you're going around our town and our island. And you have left footprints in our sands that will be there to remind us of all of you. You know, we've learned just so much from each other about how to make our cities even better. And we've shared much with each other. You know, at work, you think about it, our plenary sessions, our workout sessions, I've learned much. You know, and I think about what Ignite has done for our city, and I'm sure you've met with them, both George and Riyadh, and MasterCard with Miguel and Mike Froman, you know, in terms of City Possible. Things we would not be able to learn here in Honolulu without the U.S. Conference of Mayors bringing us together. And then the social gatherings. You know, at the Great Lawn, the first night, that seems like ages ago now, the Mighty Mo and the USS Arizona, and the flags that we presented to the mayors when you got home that night. And last night at Iolani Palace, we even provided you some protesters so you didn't get too comfortable. And tonight at the Convention Center on the rooftop garden, under the stars. You know, for me, you have helped give the city and county of Honolulu, and I hope you felt it too, a renewed sense of hope, you know, for our cities and in turn for our nation. At a time when, if you watch the national news or even the international news, there's not too much hope there. And I have to say, the highlight for me was hearing Ambassador Caroline Kennedy talk. You know, I wasn't exactly sure what she was going to say. And you know, I wasn't going to be someone to say, hey, Caroline, what are you going to say? And I was prepared for a speech about her experience being the last surviving Kennedy. But she dedicated her time to issues regarding mayors and issues between Japan and our country and issues involving Hawaii. Very thoughtful. And her standing ovation lasted for minutes because I believe she touched your heart just like she touched ours. So there are many stories to tell. You've heard ours at the City and County of Honolulu, and you have shared many of yours with us. And that's what makes us so great as cities. Our stories weave a fabric that binds our nation together, even though at the federal level, there's much division and dissatisfaction. We are places of hope, us cities. So, you know, as you depart in the next couple days from, I believe, the most beautiful fleet of islands anchored in any ocean, anywhere in the world, I hope that you will take our aloha with you back to your places. You know, as you've heard many times, aloha has many different meanings. It means hello, it does mean goodbye, and it means I love you. But I believe that perhaps the most appropriate meaning for us today is that it means until we meet again. Until we meet again. Our last queen, Queen Liliuokalani, who is imprisoned in Iolani Palace after the overthrow of the monarchy on a second floor room, wrote a very famous Hawaiian song called Aloha Oi. And you've heard it played many times. It's played at funerals, but it is about until we meet again. And so I want to say Aloha Oi to all of you. And I want to say I look forward to meeting all of you next year in the great city of Austin, Texas, with Stephen Adler, even outdoing Honolulu. So I want to say I love all of you, and aloha. Thank you. And with that, we're going to have a beautiful hula dance rendition to send you off with much love. Thank you.
Have you seen these islands? Have you seen the beauty of this land? Do you know its people? Brothers, sisters walking hand in hand. Have you seen the ocean? Miles and miles of crystal deep blue seas. Can you smell the flowers? Fill the air with fragrances for free. This is aloha. This is aloha. This is aloha, this land of Hawaii. Have you felt the power? Mountain craters throwing lava in the air, or its green swept beauty. Each island blossoms everywhere. Have you felt its spirit? Ancient gods, their mana still lives here. You will love these islands. Nothing in the world can compare. This is aloha. This is aloha. This is aloha. This land of Hawaii. Have you felt the power? Mountain craters throwing lava in the air, or its green swept beauty. From each island blossoms everywhere. Have you felt its spirit? Ancient gods, their mana still is here. Colored rainbows stretch across the sky. Waterfalls so high, mountains make you cry. You will love This is aloha, this land of Hawaii.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's give him another hand. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. His name is Brian with a Y and not I. And he's not from Minnesota. So you better get it right. Rochester Hills, Michigan. I met this young man in Orlando, Medaya, after your great meeting down there. We had a nominating committee meeting, and they were trading. So two Democrats in the nominating committee traded one of theirs to get Barnett. And they kept talking about Brian Barnett. Brian Barnett. I said, who in the hell is Brian Barnett, you know? But I met Brian Barnett when we were leaving, and I saw him with your family as we were in Orlando. We talked. And he came to see us 2 or 3 weeks ago to talk to my staff of 25 people. He talked about the love for his family, the love for his mother, and the love for his public servant father who served in the fire department in his city. He said that he ran for student body, and when he got through running, he saw there was an opening of city council, and he said, why not? But I will say this to you, that his sense of humor is fierce, seductive, and when you're with him, I was with him for about an hour yesterday, he's got an idea a minute, and all those ideas are geared to the future of this organization. So we welcome him. Let's look at the video. Ladies and gentlemen, the 77th President of the United States Conference of Mayors, Brian Barnett.
Thank you. Thank you. Mayor Mahalik, I'm not going to do it. In 1931, Pulitzer Prize-winning author James Adams wrote a book called The Epic of America. And within the book's pages, Adams coined the term, which we all have heard, the American dream. Now, of course, there's not a person here who hasn't talked about it, heard about it, dreamed about it, longed for it, aspired to achieve it. But it's important for us this afternoon to hear Adam's vision for the American dream as it was actually written. Here's what he wrote. Adams described the American dream as a dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement. It's not a dream of motor cars and high wages merely, but a dream of social order in which each man and each woman shall be able to attain to the fullest stature of which they are innately capable, and to be recognized by others for what they are, regardless of the fortuitous circumstances of birth or position. Repeat that last part. A social order in which each man and each woman shall be able to attain to the fullest stature of which they are innately capable and be recognized by others for what they are, regardless of the fortuitous circumstances of birth or position. My friends, that is truly the bipartisan vision we want for our communities. It's the vision we want for our residents, and it's the vision that we want for America. And in the year ahead, I invite you to join me on a journey as we work together to pursue this dream as it was written for all. So good afternoon and aloha. Thank you so much for coming to the last luncheon of a very full and robust summer conference agenda. I am so incredibly honored that so many of you are here this afternoon. You know, I have a number of people that I need to thank at an event like this, and I want to start by thanking my friend, the hug was genuine, the relationship is real, Tom Cochran, especially Tom, and to the entire conference staff for their diligence and professionalism in leading our conference this week and every week. Their expertise, their thoughtful perspectives, and their strategic stewardship of this organization is truly amazing, and I think they deserve a strong round of applause. In my opinion, you will find no stronger, more knowledgeable, more passionate people about the state of America's cities or supporting America's mayors than Tom and his team, and I want to personally thank them. I also want to thank my friend Mayor Kirk Caldwell and his incredible team and the wonderful, generous, and overwhelmingly hospitable people of Honolulu for hosting us this weekend, including all who've been preparing our meals and serving us here at the Hilton. Please join me in a grateful round of applause for our fantastic hosts. So I must say, if you've ever wondered what a dream coming true looks like in real life, this is it. Truly a monumental moment for me, and one that I feel so blessed to share with all of you. Fellow mayors, family, and friends, I am beyond humbled and honored to receive the gavel, and with it, the responsibility to serve as the 77th President of the United States Conference of Mayors. Now, this has been, for me, an amazing journey, and frankly, one I never could have imagined even a few years ago. And to be joined today by so many people instrumental in that journey, I can only tell you that my heart is completely full. You know, Abraham Lincoln once said that some achieve great success is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. And as I glanced at the list of past presidents of this organization, I was simply in awe of so much great success. Historic American leaders like Detroit Mayor Frank Murphy, our first president back in 1933. He not only helped form this conference, but went on to be a governor and then a United States Supreme Court Justice. Or one of our more famous forefathers, Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia, our fifth president from New York City, of course, who served as president of this organization for 10 years, energetic, charismatic, despite presiding over the Great Depression and World War II, and you all know, many of you have quoted him about potholes not having a party. Or Mayor Helen Busalis, our 39th president from Lincoln, Nebraska. She was our first female president and first female mayor of Lincoln, a true trailblazer. And no list of great mayors is complete without a mention of the dean, Charleston Mayor Joe Riley, our 44th president who served 10 terms as mayor and founded the Mayor's Institute on City Design, which has probably positively influenced 75% of the sitting mayors and their cities in this room today. Such an incredible legacy from Mayor Riley. Tremendous leaders throughout the ages for so many of America's cities, and frankly, a little bit of pressure to have an airport or highway named after you, but certainly a long list of inspirational leaders. And that list includes a good friend. I consider myself absolutely blessed to have had the privilege to follow Mayor Steve Benjamin in leadership. Steve has led this organization with distinction, integrity, care, and grace, and of course, a clear and consistent vision. His record of accomplishments both back home in Columbia and with the conference speaks for itself, and we are all better for it. Steve and I have been friends for years now, and I think it was that friendship and trust that encouraged us to do something different, something that hadn't been done before in this conference. You see, we both have a passion for this organization, this family, and an equal passion for avoiding the crippling partisanship that we've seen seize every other layer of government in our nation. So we met almost 15 months ago with an innovative idea, an idea hatched by a Southern Baptist African-American Democrat and a super tall and handsome Northern Evangelical Caucasian Republican to work together to share a platform and to give our conference staff, our members, and our Washington colleagues a solid 2-year direction and a distinctive voice in where we wanted to go. The 3 I's were born, and over the past year, we've worked shoulder to shoulder from Boston to Austin, from Poland to Mexico, to showcase what true bipartisanship and, dare I say, honest friendship can do to make a difference. It's somewhat annoying, but he knows the exact GDP that comes from the nation's cities each year. He too often uses the word ubiquitous. Strangely, he travels with only one carry-on no matter how long he's staying anywhere. But in all seriousness, Mayor Benjamin is hands down one of the most well-respected and genuinely well-loved presidents I have seen in my years as mayor. And I expect that that will continue to be his legacy for many years to come. So to Samuel and Maggie Benjamin, you raised a good man. It's important for you to be reminded that your son is truly, and I mean truly, among the very best that America has to offer. And to DeAndre, Bethany, and Jordan Grace, thank you for unselfishly sharing your husband and your dad with us. We are so appreciative of that and indebted to you. And to the people of Columbia, thank you for sending your very best when we needed it most. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend and one of our better angels, Steve Benjamin. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brian Barnett, and I come from the most beautiful city that you've probably never been to. I am proud of my community and have been so blessed to be the mayor of Rochester Hills for the past 13 years. As a former Walt Disney World fellow, I strive to leave my city with Walt's creative vision in mind. If you can dream it, you can do it. And Rochester Hills has been dreaming and doing a lot lately. You see, Rochester Hills is a picturesque city of about 75,000 people located in the suburbs of Metro Detroit. We are a family-oriented community that values innovation, inclusion, and the beautiful nature that surrounds us. We're a community of engaged neighbors and beautiful and distinctive neighborhoods. We value education and consistently have some of the top-ranked schools in our nation. We love community events and celebrate nearly every season with bands, fireworks, picnics, and parades. We are the preeminent place to live, to work, and to raise your family. With over 20,000 students at 2 universities, we have a youthful vibrancy felt in every corner of our community. But we're also home to the Midwest's preeminent senior center, the OPC, where over 1,100 people visit each day, as more seasoned citizens are choosing Rochester Hills to age in place. And like many of you, the population of our community is growing in its diversity, and we believe we are better for it. We've been blessed to receive substantial national recognition nearly every year. The past 3 years, the FBI has rated Rochester Hills as Michigan's safest city. And currently, we are the 6th safest city in the country of a city over 50,000 people. We've been voted the 8th best place to start a small business in the nation, and both Money Magazine and USA Today have both named Rochester Hills as a top 10 place to raise a family anywhere in the country. We have a vibrant business community with over 1,600 businesses, and are proud to be the city that designs and produces more robots than any other in all of North America. That's right, we're the robotic capital of our continent. So one person can applaud for that, that's right. Always stack the audience with your mom, because she'll always applaud. It truly is a little slice of heaven, and I'm looking forward to welcoming you, along with my friend Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan and the leadership team, to Rochester Hills and the city of Detroit for our fall leadership meeting in October. And in the inexplicable case that you're still perhaps on the fence about visiting my city this fall, I asked a few former and current mayors who've been to my city to provide a quote about their visit. Here are a couple of my favorites. Y'all remember former Madison Mayor Paul Soglin? He visited and said, I actually smiled in Rochester Hills briefly. If you know Paul, that's a pretty good statement. Columbus Mayor Andy Ginther visited and said, after visiting Rochester Hills, I now see why Ohio is the worst state ever. I didn't make this up, folks. This is what he said. And then, of course, I wanted to get another perspective from Ohio, so I asked Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley, and she said, I completely agree with Mayor Ginther, Ohio sucks. Two things about that quote. Number one, it really has nothing to do with Rochester Hills, and also I think it's the first time Ohio sucks has been used in a presidential address, so I'm pretty proud of that. And finally, my buddy Oklahoma City Mayor David Holt once famously said, Rochester Hills is just like my city, except the people there are friendly and it's really beautiful. So, hopefully we'll see you in Rochester Hills in the fall. And I hope you're beginning to get a little better flavor of my hometown. And I can tell you it's going to be incredible to host all of you in a few short months. However, I must share that my path to becoming mayor of Rochester Hills wasn't direct or predictable. In fact, it wasn't even the one that I wanted, and maybe some of you electeds in the room can relate. You see, I'm blessed to be the oldest of 4 kids, and my senior year of high school was going probably like every other senior's final year, fun and fast. I was planning on attending Michigan State University, where most of my friends were headed in the fall. But then my father, a career firefighter, was diagnosed with cancer. He didn't smoke, and we had no history of cancer in our family. Our family was devastated. And when it felt like just a few short months, my dad was gone. He was 39, and I was 17. I decided to change my plans, stay at home, study in Rochester Hills at Oakland University, and try and be the big brother that I felt my siblings might need. And as such, I wasn't really engaged in freshman university life. I didn't want to be there. I sat in the student center after class, usually by myself, ate lunch, and left. Until one day, something so simple happened, it's almost embarrassing to tell you. Something happened while I was sitting there in the student center one day that I believe is directly responsible for the reason I'm standing here in front of you today. I was invited. It wasn't dramatic. A woman tapped me on the shoulder and asked if I wanted to play cards with her group. They needed a fourth. I didn't know them, but I knew the game. So I took a chance and I said yes. They were kind and they invited me. That singular event led to friendships that led to a greater engagement at Oakland University. Our group began attending sporting events together, listening to speakers, comedians. Before I knew it, I was really, truly involved in university life. Eventually, I ran for the Student Congress, and my senior year, I found myself the student body president of this 18,000 student campus. And while I graduated with a degree in business marketing, my campus involvement had opened up my eyes to the excitement of leadership and to the fulfillment of public service. The summer I graduated, I decided to run for city council and was elected at the age of 24. I served for 6 years before the city's previous mayor became ill, and in our strong mayor form of government, a replacement needed to be found. I won my first election to mayor by 1 vote, 4-3, and I voted for myself. And at the age of 29, became the youngest strong mayor in the country of a city over 50,000. And for those of you that have city councils, you can probably tell by the faces, the 3 that voted for me and the 3 that voted against. So, I've since won 3 citywide elections for mayor, and perhaps most notably in 2015, because our charter only allows the mayor to serve 2 terms, I ran as a write-in candidate. Now, there were 2 names on the ballot that year. Both campaigned hard and raised plenty of money. So I recognized how incredibly fortunate I was to receive over 10,000 write-in votes and take over 53% of the votes cast without being on the ballot. It was the largest write-in vote victory in the history of my state. I'm not counting, but I've received more write-in votes than Bill de Blasio, Eric Garcetti, and Sylvester Turner. But like I said, I'm not counting. Friends, it has been a truly remarkable journey, a journey that started with a simple invitation, a subtle and unceremonious invitation that changed the trajectory of my life. But of course, a journey like mine doesn't happen without an incredible network of support. And I'm blessed to have such an amazing group of family and friends. Now, my beautiful wife, Corinne, who many of you know, has been by my side for every step of this journey. She's absolutely amazing. She's funny, passionate, occasionally opinionated, and an amazing, caring, and loyal friend. She's an insatiable entrepreneurial spirit and has founded 3 of her own distinct businesses, from fashion design to vocal performance to musical education. And we celebrated our anniversary 2 nights ago, so that was kind of cool. My boys, Kenneth and Tristan, who were just 2 and 1 when I became mayor, have long since traded their diapers for iPads and girlfriends since I took my first oath, but they've also been wonderfully understanding and supportive. You know, for 13 years, my family has been patient with my late night meetings and out-of-town conferences and all sorts of matters that require my attention. I'm sure most of you understand what that's like. They understand when people stop us at restaurants or grocery stores, church, or any place in between to talk about permits or potholes or parking tickets. And as you all know, it's a really unusual lifestyle that requires a lot from your families and spouses. But mine don't complain. They love me, and I try to love them back even more. So ladies and gentlemen, if you would be so kind to give a big round of applause to my wife, Corinne, and my boys, Kenneth and Tristan. Could you guys stand? I couldn't have a thank you speech without mentioning some of my extended family as well. My brother Chris is here, who ironically is the mayor of the township next to mine. My in-laws, my family, my friends who all made the trip out there have a really special place in my life. And finally, I'm so happy to have my mom, Judy, and my stepfather, John, here. As some of you might know my mom's story, she was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago and has battled hard and is now cancer-free for the 4th year in a row. She is strong, supportive, and a fierce defender of all her children, and I'm grateful to be her son and glad that she could be here today with John. Love both of you guys. Thank you for being here. Granted, I'm not sure any of them would be here if this was in Peoria, but they're here, so I remain grateful. Finally, the most important lesson I've learned thus far in my life is the importance of faith. While mine isn't perfect, it guides, encourages, and supports me daily. I know where my blessings flow from, and I thank God for the opportunities that He's blessed me with. Now, for any organization, success comes through the work of a great team, and that's exactly what I'm blessed with in Rochester Hills. I want to stop and say 2 people that I hope most of you know are so critically important to that. My Chief of Staff, Maria Willett, and my Senior Advisor, Tom Talbot, my right and my left hand. I want to thank them for everything. I don't know if I'll get the gavel back. I saw Maria took it a few minutes ago. I'm not sure. That'll probably be on her desk, but that's okay. She's earned it as well. My department directors and my immediate mayor's office team and the rest of the folks that form the core of my 500-person administration, they've all been so wonderfully innovative, creative, and focused on serving our residents. They've won numerous industry awards and are constantly being asked to speak across the country on their innovations. Now, my team are the ones that have to put up with my crazy ideas, slight schedule changes, and minor tardiness every day. They have embraced my somewhat unusual style as we love communicating with our residents in non-traditional and unusual methods. I mean, most of you, I assume, have done carpool karaoke with Madonna, a Rochester Hills resident, have rappelled from the ceiling into your state of the city while playing an electric guitar, or performed numerous dance numbers to indoor fireworks. Hopefully all of you have at least slow jammed your news. And while we have a great story in Rochester Hills, I love telling it a little bit differently and with a little flair. In fact, I've already told our leadership team and our committee chairs that the theme for our fall meeting this year in Rochester Hills will be Broadway's Grease. So I was a little bit, to be honest with you, I was a little bit concerned that they weren't on board at first, but then I think they really started embracing it, and I think we have a picture. There they are. You're welcome, Nan. So now you know a little bit more about my city, you know a little bit more about my story, you know a little bit more about my family, and you know a little bit more about my team. So the only thing left to give you is a little bit of a peek at my plan. They say your first act is often your most important, your signature move. Well, today I'm proud to announce mine. I'm also proud to say that I haven't run this by anybody at the conference, which makes this even more exciting. You watching, Tom? So for too long, this organization has lived with this logo. And now as president, I have the power to change it, and I am. I'm officially taking Chris Cabaldon's West Sacramento Star and moving it to Rochester Hills, where it rightfully belongs. So I'll sign the appropriate paperwork later, but if you could just scribble it out where you're sitting at your desks, I'd be really happy with that. In all seriousness, you know the central focus of our strategic plan because we've been executing against it for the past 12 months. Our laser-like attention on the 3 I's has been crisp and productive. And I'm committed to continue to work and to lead this conference and to build on our 2-year bipartisan platform of infrastructure, innovation, and inclusion. In the area of infrastructure, we've made it clear that local government is best suited to identify and prioritize infrastructure needs and to execute against them. We will highlight the work of the Infrastructure Task Force led by my friend Mayor Garcetti and the infrastructure priorities this conference has identified for the 116th Congress, including specifics on transportation, water, energy, and community tax incentives for infrastructure investment. As you know, our colleagues in Washington are still debating a $2 trillion infrastructure package. Well, we'll continue to engage congressional leadership, offering updates and appropriate action steps as necessary. We'll also keep you current on developments in workforce training and continue to aggressively define, implement, and fast-track our work on opportunity zones, an area which my friend and first Vice President Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher has so competently led. And in the inaugural session of the Mayor's Leadership Institute on Smart Cities within the past year, that was, I think, a strong commitment to the conference's commitment on innovation. We will celebrate, promote, and share outcomes and best practices of the Institute in the year ahead. As part of the new initiative, I've asked the conference to pursue a first-ever presence at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, the global stage for innovation that takes place each January. Our plan is to lean into smart cities and to the autonomous vehicle presence currently in place to show and expand our understanding of and deployment of data and tech-driven, resident-centric smart initiatives. Now, innovation isn't necessary, friends, but then again, neither is survival. And of course, none of this happens without an ongoing commitment to inclusion. And together, we're navigating through some challenging times. The Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia issues this metric here you see behind me. It's called the Partisan Conflict Index. And it tracks the degree of political disagreement among U.S. politicians, measuring the frequency of media content reporting disagreement over a course of time. And you can see that we are in historically volatile times. And you're all familiar with the research that suggests that increased partisan conflict creates increased uncertainty, which in turn slows economic activity, which in turn delays business investment and consumer spending. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy and a dangerous cycle that mayors need to break. This hyper-partisanship is exacting a price in our cities, and we know that mayors are uniquely positioned to offer workable solutions to change our course. At the same time, there are other factors at work, factors affecting the residents of our cities. Many are feeling left behind, and some are living separate realities. Incomes are rising in the U.S., but those increases are not being felt the same by all Americans. And we're also aware of the powerful and important demographic changes taking place in nearly every community, including mine, changing the face of our elections and certainly the 2020 census. This makes our work on inclusion even more important. Through all of this, we will highlight the good work that's being done across various committees, the meaningful discussions that promote inclusion, and the efforts of the mayors and business leaders center on inclusive and compassionate cities, all while lifting up the truly impressive work of all mayors for all residents. We can and should be incredibly proud of our strategic focus on the 3 I's. And as I look to the year ahead with my friends, Mayors Fisher and Whaley, I find myself asking, how do we make this collective commitment even stronger? And how do we cement our national leadership in these 3 areas? Well, if 3 I's got us this far, 3 more probably can't hurt. So first, we will invite. We'll invite our residents to join us, our business partners to collaborate with us, the mayors in this country who are not currently engaged with the Conference of Mayors to become part of our movement, our effort, and our family. We'll invite any and all who will champion our message to be part of our cause. And just as I have seen in my life, there is no underestimating what a single, simple invitation can do. Second, we'll invest. We all have capital projects and needs, but I'm not talking about structures, parks, or sewer lines. I'm talking about a new, unique, and specific investment in the cities who host us. Today, I'm proud to launch a new program that speaks to the heart of investing as an organization. In the coming weeks, you're going to get more information about a program I'm calling 100 Mayors Who Care. I'm asking each mayor to participate in a way that will leave a small legacy of support for a charitable organization of our collective choosing that will improve the lives of the residents and the cities in which this conference meets. So instead of arriving in a host city for a summer, winter, or leadership meeting and eating the best food and enjoying the nightlife and meeting the most connected in a community, we will invest in the most needy and lead with compassion and kindness. 2 words you'll hear me talk more about in the months ahead. And with your support, we will invest in a unique way to show just who we are as mayors. And when we leave a host city, we'll leave not just with a best practice, a memory, or a story, but with the knowledge that we made a tangible difference. And finally, if we're doing all of these things well, we will do the most important I. We will inspire. This past Saturday, Caroline Kennedy inspired all of us and eloquently and poignantly reminded us of the vision, legacy, and leadership of her father. The powerful call to action he offered this conference in 1963 remains so relevant today. It was he who said, efforts and courage are not enough without purpose and direction. Well, mayors, we have our purpose, and we are clear in our direction. We will inspire every zip code in our cities to see hope. We will and should inspire our children to see a future better than our own. We will inspire the American electorate to see that mayors are offering real and sustainable solutions. We will inspire a generation into public service, and I hope we will inspire each other. I share personally that I truly have been so inspired by so many of you in this room. Our relationships are authentic, and I know that I'm a better mayor because of it. Your passion, creativity, and friendships have been inspirational to me and to all those who work with and around mayors. There's no doubt in my mind that America's future rests on the shoulders of those people in this room. And mayors, stand ready. You are the change makers. You're the boots on the ground. You're so often a voice for those that cannot speak for themselves. You're the bridge builders, the innovators, the connectors. You are the problem solvers, the advocators, the true collaborators, the kind and compassionate. You lift others up. You are the ones that bring calm so often to the crisis. You feed, you clothe, you shelter. You care enough to listen whether the voices are screaming at you or whether they're whispering. You raise your hands when others shuffle their feet. You are creating the leaders of tomorrow. You cast a vision and then inspire others to follow. You're building and creating things that will last for generations to come. You challenge the impossible and you never stop. You know that this job will never get easier, but you do it anyway. And you do it, of course, not for money, but in service to others. Every one of you has committed to using your life to make not yours, but someone else's life better. You all are the secret sauce of this 87-year-old organization and the reason we have such an impressive track record of accomplishments. My friends, your tireless work never ends, and in truth, I think that motivates most of you here today. A challenge accepted. Mayors, we are on a mission, as strong financially as an organization as we have ever been, as relevant politically as we could ever imagine. We have the trust of the American people more so than anyone who occupies an elected office, and now is our time. Our cities need us, our country needs us, bipartisanship needs us. We stand on great shoulders and press on. We lead because it's in our DNA and it's all we really know. My friends and my fellow mayors, you are officially invited in America's future as we look to invest and inspire hope, civility, responsibility, and prosperity to our next generation. And as mayors, let us never lose sight of the fact that the American dream is for everyone. It knows no political party. It has no favorite state, city, or region. It merely requires us to honor it and to protect it for our next generation. That is our charge, that is our calling, and that is our dream. A dream for every man and every woman, regardless of their circumstances, of their birth or position or capability. Mayors, it is our time, and we are ready to lead. May God bless you. May God bless your cities, this conference, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you, and mahalo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Meeting. Barnett family on the stage, please. The steps this way.